Thousands of delegates, including heads of state and governments, ministers, academic and economic experts, representatives of the private sector and members of non-governmental organizations are attending the 14th UNCTAD Ministerial Conference at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. Kenya remains in the global spotlight for the second day running as world leaders deliberate on issues that inhibit wealth creation in developing countries. Speaking at the World Leaders Summit, African heads of state challenged national governments to declare war on poverty, youth unemployment, and the existing financing gaps in order to achieve prosperity.
How do we translate the goals that we set ourselves of eradicating poverty, of saving our planet, of having greater equality? Because our people will not eat conferences. Our people want an end to poverty. Our people want shelter. Our people want food. Our young people want jobs. How do we practically tackle these objectives?
Around the world today, people are increasingly unhappy with the state of the global economy. Rising inequality, stagnating incomes, and signs of wealth concentration are leading to a lot of people fearing that globalization is not delivering in their expectations.
The leaders agree that trade liberalization and public-private partnerships will help developing countries move forward towards development.
Clear recognition that we need to increase and boost trade between ourselves as one way of dealing with the challenges of development that we have.
Where Africa stands, it's at the cusp of a demographic dividend. Africa doesn't need help. It needs capacity development. It needs capacity building. There are markets here for the international community.
The heads of agencies are, however, concerned with the numerous trade barriers hindering exports coming from developing countries, which they say need to be addressed.
All sorts of barriers. You have tariff barriers, you have non-tariff barriers, you have all sorts of gimmicks behind the border. We need to make sure that people understand that a developed Africa is a win-win for everyone.
Lack of implementation of policies is also dragging down African countries, with leaders calling for efficient and effective guidelines. President Uhuru Kenyatta called for transformation at the UN agencies, noting that UN spends billions of dollars in peacekeeping missions in Africa, yet the impact is minimal.
The UN spends billions and billions of dollars in so-called peacekeeping missions. But after all these billions, what impact has it achieved? Why don't you partner with us? Why don't you ask us? How can we find solutions to these problems?
Caroline Jenga for NewsHour Business.